And I'm really excited for this presentation today because it comes not just with theory of, I think that this is how it should be done. It's actually practical information where it's proven to actually get the outcomes. And so I'm going to take it over to you, Dan, give you the floor and let you take it away.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess first off, let's just kind of get into the whole idea of what I'm trying to teach you guys. For me, I guess what I want to show you here. Can we all see my slides? Can you see them
Yep.
all hopefully perfectly? Awesome. So it's one thing to be told that you got to do shit online. It's another to understand the why behind it. And for me, just to give you a quick backstory, I moved online about 2017, but was still doing a lot in person. And best advice that I got was I was earning too much money in person to actually go whole hog online. I took the leap of faith and went pretty professional into what I was doing, spent a lot of money on the softwares and really put myself in the trenches. But for me, it was um, I guess I just believed in it. I didn't see what was going to be the true outcome that was going to come from it. But maybe 5 years after that, I was posting daily for about 4.5 years. And it wasn't until I really started to put strategies behind what I was doing and actually reviewing like what I was doing. So like reviewing the metrics of what I was posting out there. And then I started to kind of change the approach. I started to change the approach depending on the platform that I was using. And off the back of that, then we did have quite an acceleration in our growth. And I still see that happening today with people when they are pretty serious in this industry, right? In the industry of growing on social media. The one thing that I want to kind of stress here that is I want you to think of the way we're going to approach social media as like a seesaw. And the seesaw is going to tell us that sometimes we want to focus on the metrics of actually getting more people on our platform. And that might be doing things that are potentially going to go viral. And then we understand what actually happens after that. And the reason is we want to get them into our kind of ecosystem. And the best way to do that is naturally to be doing the things that the particular platform favors. Once we've done that, then we can really start to show our authority so that people can actually see, hey, this person's very entertaining or this person's good at what they say they do, but now there's proof in the pudding. So that's kind of what I want to go through today and show you the difference and not just the difference based on my opinion, based on actually what's worked. Okay? Because I think that's what's important. You get to talk to a lot of people in marketing agencies and they tell you need to grow on social media. And then you look at their page and they got 100 followers and you're like, okay, cool. So why are you telling me to grow and you're not putting in the time and effort to do it? And that's kind of what I want to show you today. Okay. This isn't about doing any kind of TikTok dances, although, enough drinks in me, my hips can move pretty well. So this is more just actually showing people, especially in a business context. So the idea behind this is this probably resonates with a lot of us where we are, maybe putting money into ads as an example. Ads aren't a bad thing, but ads should be treated as an amplification of things that are already working, in my opinion. And so when you do show up organically, you get free data. Like you get basically what is resonating with these people. And when you see what's resonating with those people, then you can actually gear variations of that into an ad situation that is ultimately going to just kind of put a bit of fuel to a fire. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go through this a little bit of jargon first off, and then I'll show you some real-time stuff just so that we get an understanding as to how we're going to do this, right? I am one of those people that absolutely hates the idea of just regurgitated AI shit. Like you're going into ChatGPT, it's giving you an idea, you go and you're putting it out on social media, and you're wondering why people aren't resonating with it. The one feedback that I always get from people is when they meet me in person, it's like they already knew me because when they watch my videos, I'm the same person. So authenticity is something that I'm a big advocate here for. And I want you to try like get yourself on screen. And it's not necessarily easy, but what I would say is if you don't try and start, you're never going to get better at it. And your competitors are probably already doing it or they're going to start. And when I look back at my videos in 2017, I absolutely cringe. So guess what? Your first video is going to be shit, and that's okay. And then you just got to keep posting more and start looking at ways that you can refine it, make it better, make it more entertaining, or at least more educational. You're ultimately trying to get people just to watch that content for longer. That's pretty much what you're trying to do. Okay. Um, so what are we going to go through today? Well, very much. I want to obviously talk to you about your avatar. You might have heard niche, you might have heard avatar. The idea is when you know who you're actually trying to talk to, you can be very, very specific. You as an individual might think that you're repeating yourself constantly, but guess what? If you're repeating yourself in problem solving in a specific thing, then you're more likely going to be, the person that those people are going to come to because they just keep seeing you explaining the headache that they're having. Okay. I'll show you the content framework and then a system. Now, obviously, with the people that I'm talking to, systems are going to be ideally things that you're very familiar with. We do use Go High Level. We do white label it like most of you on the call. So some of it will be familiar, but it's in there, so we might as well go through it, at least so you can see how I'm actually using the software. And ultimately, where I like to spend most of my time is in the strategy part of this. I can save money by having a coach. I can, spend the money where I want to amplify with ads or get good softwares, get good team. But ultimately, the more systems that you have in place for this, it allows you to be more specific to the time that you want to put in it. For most people, 2 hours a week when refined and having a team then to do all the rest is probably an achievable goal to have you posting at least 3+ times a week. Okay. Jared, if there's any questions, if you just want to compile them and then we can just kind of dive into it. I'm not really looking at the questions right now.
All good.
Okay?
Got you back, mate.
Yeah. Cool. So what do we want here? Like, what is the opportunity? The opportunity at the moment is most people, when they turn on ads, if you have a small following, you're more likely going towards a cold audience. And if you're going towards a cold audience and you don't even know how to perform on camera, or at least like talk on camera fluently, it's going to be a hard basket, or at least you're going to burn a lot of cash before you start to see who you want to work with. In my opinion, I believe that if we can build an organic strategy and we can actually start to get comfortable on camera and actually start to put good, valuable content out there, you're now going to get more of the warm leads. And then what you start to do is with your direct kind of ask, and we'll go through your kind of bottom of funnel stuff, you'll kind of ultimately see who is the low hanging fruit, who are my hot leads. Okay. You'll notice the color scheme here. I like to think of this as a traffic light system. We don't necessarily want to burn anybody, or at least I don't think you should. I think with the systems in place that most of you have, the cold leads will come in and we'll know that we potentially have to nurture them. For most of the clients that we work with, a lot of them have been watching my content for a year before they're actually ready to make a decision. That's not to scare you, but it's just to show you in the environment that we're currently in, for a lot of people, it is taking them that little bit longer to actually make a decision. Now, first thing that I want you to just look at here is, let's use Instagram as an example, okay? If you were to open your Instagram now, if you use Instagram, Facebook works kind of the same way in what we're doing. LinkedIn, a little bit of a different strategy, can touch on it in the Q&As if some of you are using that specifically. But I want you to think of this as your shop front. And what you got to remember is a few things. This is a shop front, but you're only leasing the building. So you don't actually own this. You can't see how many people come onto your page. You can't see who's, you can see who's obviously watching your stories and if they're commenting or if they're sharing, but you can't see the individuals who are sharing, as an example. And why am I telling you this? Because it's really important that we not only have people coming onto our page, but we understand where we want to then send those people. So having good call to actions, having something very clear and precise as to what you do on your homepage is going to be really beneficial here. So if you see this here, the idea behind this is, if I come onto your page, I want to know in the first 3 seconds what you do, because I might have seen a video that you've made or a carousel that you've produced or an infographic, and it was really, really interesting. And now I want, it addressed the issue that's been pissing me off for so long, and you now sound like the person that I want to work with. So now I got to go and binge your content, because that's what we do. So I'm going to click on your page, and if it's not aligned with what you just or what I just watched or consumed, then there's already a mismatch. And so for me, I want you to be specific to what you do, and I want you to have a clear actionable on your particular profile, your description. So in this one, someone DMs me growth, then we start a conversation around, okay, well, what do you need on social media? Like, what are you doing in terms of your business how are you showing up on social media? If you're somebody who's obviously selling an AI system or selling anything to do with Go High Level, as an example, then have a clear actionable that you want them to take. If you only have 100 followers, maybe you don't get anybody, but all it takes is one video to pop off. And if you don't have this stuff you don't have this stuff on your page, then guess what? Those people are probably going to come across and then just disappear away. And I'll give you the scenario of how we grew, because I think it'll allow you to actually see what I'm talking about here. And I'll talk about that when we go into more of the videos that I'm going to show you, just the screenshots. You don't have to sit and watch video. And it'll make things a bit clearer for you, okay? Because what you got to understand is, let's say if you're somebody who gets maybe one message a day or maybe two messages a day, when your page explodes to 500,000 followers, let me tell you, there is a lot more than one or two people messaging you a day. And this is where your systems are imperative. Otherwise, you're going to be like me when it first happened, and you're going to have to spend a shit ton of time trying to reply to those people. Okay. So, avatar, what are we talking about here? With your avatar, what I want you to think about is, what is it that you do? If you're somebody who maybe hasn't been showing up on social media, but you talk to clients and you talk to people in the industry and you talk to people at networking events, start to make a note of what is the common problems that they're having. And especially if it relates to what you do. Because that's your easiest way to market. It's your easiest way to get the content that you need. It's all well and good going on Claude and ChatGPT and getting like, hey, I'm a builder. What is the headaches that people have when buying their first time home? Like, that's all well and good. But when you actually go out into a networking event, or you're actually talking to somebody on a call and they're actually venting things and you're writing that down, now you know that there is actually somebody in your market that's having that issue. Okay. With language models, some of them could be more gearing towards different countries. I still think it's quite a broad approach. Some of them are okay, but I still think you need to tailor it to sound like you. I think you still need to have knowledge in that particular space. So when it comes to showing up on social media, there's a lot of approaches that you're going to have to do with your camera setup. There's a lot of different ways that you can do things. For example, I'm trying to think if I have anything in my hand. But let's say, for example, if I was a photographer and I was using a lens as a microphone, it gives you more of a reason as to say, like, I might buy an extra second or two from you because you're like, what's in his hand? These are the strategies that we will use to try and get people to spend a little bit more time on our pages. On average, just so you're aware, if you could have a video that has more than 5 seconds as an average watch time, that's a pretty good video. So if you're putting out a video with 90 seconds, please understand that in a short form video, people are not giving you a lot of time. I think our best videos, which I'm going to show you now in a second, had average watch times of about 25 seconds, which is why they went viral. The videos themselves were actually longer than that as well, just so you're aware. Okay. Now, in today's world, people aren't really searching for advice. They're actually looking for a specialist. A lot of us here have business coaches or have some form of a coach. It's now gone from just having, say, a business coach to actually having a specific coach for a specific thing. Some of us have multiple coaches. Why? Because we want them to teach us the thing that they've been able to do that we want to get to. That, in my opinion, has been the best thing for my business. I was very stubborn for about the first 5 years, where I tried to understand everything myself and tried to learn the hard way, and then eventually admitted defeat and started to get some coaches. And that's when our business changed dramatically. So try not to just speak to everybody. Okay. I want you to really think of one avatar. And let me explain it this way. Just write in the comments. So many of you are actually working with like in a high ticket offer, like something that involves a lot of your time. So it's not a case of you're just selling a software that could be just sold exponentially. Just put a 1 if you're somebody who's selling more of a high ticket, or 2 if you're selling more of a software. So we are more like hands-on stuff, right? A lot of us, okay? Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this is because I'll give you a scenario. For most of us with one-on-one clients, there's a finite amount that we could actually take per month, okay? If we're actually giving the client exactly what they deserve and we're giving them the time and effort from us. For most people, 10, 12, maybe 15, if you've got really good systems in place, you could probably take a month. Would I be fair to say that for most people? Like, I think that's a realistic number. And the reason why I say this is because let's take Australia. Let's even just be more specific and take the East Coast. If we're trying to sell a high ticket offer and we're looking for 15 people, and some of us are going to networking events where maybe there's 20 to 30 people. And maybe we go to the next, if we go to this networking event, we go to the one in the next town or the next, 10 kilometers away. So what I'm getting at here is if you start talking specifically about something on social media, do you think it is possible to get 15 people online? I do. I think it's possible. And so that's why I'm saying is that if you can speak to one avatar and you can be really specific to what you want to address for them, it not only allows you to be more definitive in and descriptive for that person, so they're more likely to reach out because it was very specific. It's like, oh, it's like it's like they're listening to what I'm saying. How do they know that? The algorithm will obviously push it to them because they're constantly complaining about X, Y, and Z, and you're the person who has the solution to that. The flip side of that is you can then have a better onboarding experience for those individuals because you're working with the same type of avatar all the time. So they have the same sort of onboarding hiccups. They have the same sort of challenges when it comes to trying to use Go High Level as an example. Okay. Then you can start to build your tutorial videos and have them sitting there so that if you've got somebody who's non-stop messaging you, say, hey, I can direct you to this tutorial, check it out. And this allows you then to maybe the next month you can start to take 20 people. And that's my best advice when it comes to this. So this is why when someone says to me, but I could help everybody, or I can help, these 3 different types of people. I'm like, until you get to a certain point, for most people, if you're getting consistently 5 to 10 people a month with one specific avatar, I'm pretty sure you're going to be like pretty satisfied in terms of the revenue that you're going to be making. Then you can always start to have softwares that you sell off the back of it, recurring offers that they can have. Okay. So let's get into the actual framework of how this looks. We've got a few different strategies that I like to talk about. Now, I mentioned this earlier just around bottom of the funnel. This is where we should really be starting to divide out our approach with social media. Okay. The top of the funnel is basically just trying to attract everybody. Anybody who's in marketing will know any kind of lead magnet that you want to put out. It's because you want to just get people in. Social media works the exact same way. If I know that I'm in a specific industry and I've now searched in the toolbar of that particular social media channel. So if we give Instagram as an example, you can go into the search bar and the thing that you do, you can search that topic in there and it'll bring you up the best performing videos over the last 30 days. Okay. Why am I telling you this? Because we have what's called a 5x outlier. And a 5x outlier means that let's say somebody has 1,000,000 followers and they put out videos consistently. And let's say on average, their videos are getting, I don't know, let's just say conservatively 100,000 views. But one video gets 5 million views. That's a 5x outlier, meaning that it's 5 times the amount of views for the amount of followers that they have. So meaning that it had to have gone viral because they only have 1,000,000 followers, so other people had to have seen it. Now, that's very much your top of funnel strategy. So when you see what's working in your industry, you find how can you change the variation. Now, a lot of people will say to me, but isn't that plagiarism? Or, am I just copying somebody? And the scenario that I give is if we think of Adidas, we think of Nike, we think of Reebok, we think of Puma, a lot of them release very similar trainers because they know that that's the sort of model or that's the type that people are looking for. But we know very much that they are different trainers, they are different brands, and they do potentially, similar things, but there's a little bit of a difference to it. So for your top of funnel, don't be afraid to try and reenact something because again, the only person who's going to give out is the person who didn't do it themselves and didn't grow their platform as a result of it. Because this is only for people coming in at the top, right? This isn't necessarily, you get 1,000,000 views. It doesn't mean you're going to get 1,000,000 new clients, okay? But what it will do is it'll get more eyes on your page. Then we get them into our middle of funnel, which is where we're going to spend most of our time for most of the people that we want to work with. Okay? Because a lot of people aren't ready to make a decision today. And so if I can entertain you with not just like, here's an Irish guy in a leprechaun outfit with a potato in his hand just to catch your attention, it's actually like, well, actually, he's good. He tells good stories. He actually showed me a bit of social proof. Like this guy is actually knows what he's talking about. But there has to be some level of entertainment versus education, right? And if you're not doing that and you're not somebody who's confident in front of camera, you lose the personalization, right? And what I mean by that is if I don't see your content, or let's reframe this. If I see a carousel that you've made and it's pictures and all this, God forbid, it's a Claude output that everybody's doing and it just looks the exact same with the same font and the same numbers and the same colors. I'm not going to resonate with you. It might be really good information, by the way, but I don't know you as a person. Whilst if you did that, and then maybe there's another video where you are talking on screen, and for some of us, maybe it's even saying like, I know I should be showing up on social media, but I'm just really nervous about it. This is what I do. These videos are actually outperforming a lot of highly produced videos now at the moment. A lot of these videos of people just saying like, um, I don't, this is going against the grain of what I want to do, but I do want to continue to have a business and I want to do this and I want to do that. If we look at what that brings your business with the metrics that I'm going to show you now, it is worth your while. Trust me. Okay. Now, bottom of the funnel is very more direct. Like this, you'll see this on social media. Hey, I'm looking for 5 people this month. Or, hey, I've just launched this thing. Do you want to get on the wait list? We're going to be launching this thing next month. So it's a lot more direct. But I see so many people putting time and effort into social media and then not even putting anything like this up, which to me is just batshit crazy. Like if you're about to spend money on ads or you're already spending money on ads, God forbid, and you haven't done anything on social media and you're not even asking people, like how do you, it's someone's not going to just come knock on your door one day and say, hey, can I work with you if you're not doing anything, right? The best advice that I can give you is think of your people or your prospects that you want, they're sheep and you're the shepherd. So don't just presume they know where to go. You've got to guide them. But when you do guide them, that's why you'll see people who repetitively put up things. Do you know why they do that? Because it works. So when you do put up CTAs, you are a little bit direct with certain things. All it takes is one person, right? If you've said, hey, I'm working with 5 people, slash it. Now I'm working with 3 people. People are like, okay, cool. They reach out to you, they start working with you. Sweet. Didn't have to pay anything on ads for that one. So don't be afraid to do that, okay? Because there is a reason that everybody else is doing it. Now, if I can remember where I am, it would be great. So I'm not going to go too much into this because we just kind of went through that. Very much just think of it as share your experience. Do look at things that are working in the industry. Again, if we think of it from the point of, Puma, Adidas, Nike, like they still market, right? Everybody knows who they are, but they have to stay relevant and they got to be in the face of everybody so that it's still what people see. Okay. It's the same with yourself. Even if you have winning ads, I still think it's important to be putting stuff out there organically as well. If you're doing kind of highly edited ads, which is what I do, so you might start to see those on your social media. I still put up things with me and my daughter. I still put up me being a human being. And the reason is because my selling point is that I can use systems to allow me spend more time with my kids. And that's my thing. So it's like if you want to buy back your time, then I'm the person who can show you how to do that. That's the whole idea, right? Now, let's get into a little bit of this, okay? The next video I'm going to show you got us 14.9 million views, okay? And I'm highlighting this for a very specific reason. So you'll see here we reached over 13 million unique accounts. You'll see 617,000 people engaged, which meant that they either shared it or they commented on it or they liked it. And then we noticed that there was over 250,000 shares on this video. Okay. Why am I telling you this? It's not to, fill my ego. I'm telling you this because I can't really attribute much revenue to this. And the reason being is because we didn't have any systems in place to have these people come in, send them to wherever we want to send them, track where they're going, and then look at what kind of revenue we're getting off the back of it. Okay. What I did get off the back of this was recognition in my industry. I had, off the back of it, we traveled the world for 7.5 months. We went to different hotels. We created fitness events for those hotels. We trained their guests. They flew us around the world. We created, master classes in every city that we went to. So there is a value in a top of funnel post when it works. Okay. Now, what I did was I brought them into more of my middle of the funnel. Okay. And in the middle of the funnel was when I started to build that trust. So they might have just come across me. They didn't know who I was. Now I started to actually show them, here's the things that I said I'm good at. This is how we do this thing. This is how it resonates with you. Also, here's someone else that went through the same thing. Okay. So with that, what we did was we started to use lead magnets because these guys were a bit more warmer. And with this particular lead magnet, we had it set up. So we know here we got what, 91,000 views. Okay. So in ratio to the 14.9 million views or whatever it was, it's pretty pathetic in terms of the ratios. Okay. I'm not saying 91,000 views isn't good, just in relation to that. But what I can attribute to this particular video is 150,000 Aussie dollars. So it's pretty substantial. And I'm highlighting this because sometimes people do get fixated on having to get more views, but actually the strategies behind things and being a little bit more direct can get people into your ecosystem, and you could actually make more dollars off the back of it, which is ultimately why we want to show up on social media. It's not social media anymore. It's interest media, right? There's nothing social about it. I talk to my friends either through Messenger or, anything that goes out on my Facebook page or this, most of the times it's scheduled. It's not actually me being a human being, unless it's something quirky or unless I'm really, really drunk and don't remember posting. But other than that, it's usually pretty planned, right? So I'm just trying to show that because with the strategies, if I'm getting $150,000 from a particular post, in my opinion, it was worth it. Now we did repost this as well. Just want to touch on that while I'm here. I do believe that if you have a video that does pretty well, repost it 6 weeks later, or even kind of around 4 to 5 weeks later. Do that about 3 times, and then that video is probably done its course. The reason why I say that is because we actually reshared this one multiple times, and it got over 1 million views every time. So we knew that the algorithm was liking it. The ironic thing, which is what happened back 2023, what used to happen was a lot of social media channels were set up by people, and they would just reshare viral content, and they would grow these platforms to millions of followers, and then they would sell those platforms, which is why now the algorithm has changed in the context of you could have 100 followers but still have a video that pops off. And if you reshare someone else's video, you might get away with it for a certain point, but eventually the AI now will attribute that to the original person who put it up. Okay. So that was something that was happening, which was a bit of a pain in the ass because I found on multiple times I had people sharing or sending me a video from another page had posted it and not giving me credit, and it had millions of views. So that was a bit annoying, if I'm being honest. Okay, so bottom of the funnel is where you are being a lot more direct. Okay, to show you what I'm talking about, this is where, hey, I'm looking for 5 people. Hey, I'm just about to launch this software. Do you want to join the wait list? Hey, we have our thing opening on this date. Dive in now. We've only got 10 spots. If you don't put it out there, you're not going to ask people to put their hand up. Okay. Example, this particular one, again, 7,000 views. So again, quite pathetic compared to the other video at top of funnel. But what we did notice off the back of this, we got 30 calls booked because it was literally direct. It was like, send me a DM if you're having this issue. We got talking with those people, we booked calls, and most of our close rate was about 60% because these people were already warm. So off the back of that, getting 30 calls and getting 60%, it's a pretty decent close rate. So this is the benefit of having an organic strategy, because it's not cold people. It's not going out to a cold audience. They know who we are. So if I'm putting out the thing that's resonating with them, and then I give them the solution, like, hey, come and talk to me. Let me help you. It's really powerful because they've already binged on all your shit. Okay. Um, in terms of the systems, this is obviously going to be quite familiar, I think, with a lot of us. But you know, the question I always ask people is like, yeah, you say you want more leads. And I said this earlier, if you can only take 15 people in a month, then you don't really want 100 leads today. like, like you're going to shit yourself if you get 100 leads today. Unless you're, again, I know I can see some of the software heads in here. That's different, right? But for most people, you know, we turned on ads yesterday, new styles of ads. I already woke up to like 6 or 7 leads. So it's like when the ads work, because I know how to, like, I like to think I'm pretty decent on camera now. I like to think that when I know who I'm talking to, I can say the things that's really going to make sense to them or, you know, make them take action. And off the back of that, we literally turned on ads yesterday for a specific thing. We're already getting leads in there. And this is leads for a higher ticket offer. It's not a low ticket offer. We have other ads for low tickets. This one's very much trying to get them to book a call. So that's been pretty good. Um, so what I want to kind of show you is just the idea of what we're doing with getting people into our ecosystem. And this is very much more towards a colder audience or that top of funnel approach. Because I think for most of you, if you haven't been starting on showing up on social media, this is kind of your starting point now. Okay. This is what I would be recommending to do. Um, because this is what kind of happens with a lot of people. They get leads. So let's say I got 6 leads. I try and ring them. You know, if nothing happens, they haven't answered. Maybe I forget about it. They go off, and someone else who has a really good kind of approach to it has probably signed them up. With systems, they come into my system, and I can keep getting nudges to make sure that we're contacting them. I can have an email sequence so that even maybe I have got on a call with them and look, maybe now isn't the right time, but we can then start to nurture them. And for most of us, you know, if I the first thing I ask them is like, oh, have you been following for long, or is this the first time you've come across our stuff? I'm doing that because I want to understand if they're only just come across my stuff, it's going to be a harder sell, and it's probably they're not ready for another 6 months. So I don't want to burn them. I'll give them, I do like a 10-minute kind of qualification. If they don't qualify, then I very much get off the call as soon as I can. Because the way I look at it is I would happily give anybody 15 minutes of my time sitting at a coffee shop. So I'm happy to do that in that context because all it takes is one of those to kind of, you know, cover our expenses. And then everything after that is a profit. So how do we do this? Things that are working really, really well at the moment are quizzes, which you might be aware of, because we like to be kind of rated in what we're doing. If you're a builder, as an example, you'd like to understand where you're potentially leaking money. If you're like an electrician or that, like if you are getting leads and you're not getting them quick enough, highlighting that would be really good. Cheat sheets can work really well for the end user. Like, are you buying your first time home? Have you gone through these checklists? Are you, you know, looking to buy this particular software? Here's the checklist that we recommend, or here's us against our competitors as an example. And then it's ultimately, I think for most people, if you're selling a high ticket offer, do look at getting them into your DM so you can start to talk to them, because that will give you the headaches that they're probably having. It allows you then to start to build more content off that. Even if you're quite early starting out, don't be afraid to get on these sales calls. Get an understanding of what their headaches are. Even if you don't close them, just make a note of everything that they went through and start to build content on that as well, because guaranteed there's other people having the same kind of headaches that they're having. Other things that I recommend is we look at different ways that we can get people in. So different types of funnels. The funnels that are working quite well at the moment that I see. So obviously organic funnel is the one that I'm really highlighting today, but a lot of these other options are something that I wouldn't neglect. A lot of you are probably doing something similar. We do a free monthly webinar as an example. We kind of go through what I'm going through with you guys today. And then ultimately at the end, it's because most people will go, that's cool. Like, can you help us do that? Sweet. If not, we guide them into our ecosystem and they can go and binge on everything that we do. And then we'll talk to them at a certain point. The quizzes and the checklists, they're more like your lead magnet, VSL, call funnel. That's kind of what we're using with one of our ads at the moment. So that way, when they come in through the ads, they go into a landing page where I just explain the purpose of the call and help them basically with all the guesswork that they're probably doing. It also works quite well with organic that too. So if they're reaching out for a particular reason, you can give them the thing and then divert them to a VSL. We made a lot of money off the back of that. So if it's a checklist as an example, and they've reached out to you for the checklist and you have that automation set up, let's say through Instagram or Facebook, and they've triggered a word and you've sent them the thing, then off the back of that, they can sign up, they get the thing, and then you just divert them to a VSL. Really, really powerful, because most of the time, especially if you're in the right market, a lot of these people don't have time. They just kind of want the checklist to see if you can actually do what you say you can do. And even just giving them that offer of like a 15-minute triage call. I know some people bag sales calls, but I'm still a big believer that for a lot of people, there's no harm. There's no harm in getting in and learning what your people are about, especially if you're spending money on ads. Understand the headaches. It'll help you with your own content. I think I'm pretty wrapped up on that. I'm not sure I have the time to do this, is like the biggest headache, or at least the biggest excuse that most people give me. I got a full expenses paid for 6 weeks to the Hard Rock Hotel in the Maldives to sit there with my beautiful fiance and our 2 kids, just for showing up on social media and having their CEO reach out to me. That's the benefit of growing your social media. And off the back of that, we've now been able to travel the world. We now moved up to the Gold Coast from Sydney. I did that 2 years ago. I had never stepped foot, sorry, that's a lie. I had stepped foot for half an hour in Queensland. I drove up to Surfers Paradise one time and drove back out. I was staying in Kingscliff. But because I was working online, I was able to live wherever I wanted. That is the beauty of making this work. And I can't stress the importance of showing up on social media, because everybody is taking it up a notch. What used to be what the standard was 4 or 5 years ago, it's now like most people are media ready. The flip side of that, last thing I'll say, is starting with this is your best start. Okay? Because ironically, what's happened is a lot of people are using really high edited cameras. I've got a decent camera here that I do all my social media with. But when everybody's doing the same thing, start looking at doing the opposite, because otherwise you just fall in line. So everybody's using these captions and B-rolls. Some of the best performing videos we're seeing now in 2026 is just you being honest, just with a camera and just talk, or like just with a phone camera and just talking to it. So don't think that you have to go out and buy everything. If I showed you what's at this desk, you do not need this to start, but defo start. That's me. Let's dive into some questions. I could see it pinging, but I am a man and we can't do two things at once. So I said, we'll get through this first and then I can go through the questions.
Great, mate. Brilliant work. That's absolutely awesome. And I can already see that there's a ton of questions. I'll just
gentle.
I know that I added in a few myself, but a few people have gone in there as well. Guys, just keep adding those questions in, and I'll just try and keep an eye on them all. A question from the top up here, I think, was a question from me, mate. Was, do you hyper focus on one social media channel, or do you try to work across all the major ones?
For most people at the start, I say ready, fire, aim. So I say get it across all of them. And then when you start to see what people are resonating with you, then start to double down. I'll give you an example. My amazing fiance, Amy, stepped away from corporate back in September. And a lot of her coaching, or at least the avenue she wanted to go with, was around business owners, was around people in corporate. And so we noticed that her LinkedIn like popped off quite well compared to my LinkedIn. And so that we only know that because we posted every day for 2 months. And off the back of that, then we looked at the metrics. She had 3x'd her following. I had only 2x'd my following. So I was like, okay, that's the platform for you, for the things that you're doing. People are resonating with you. So I think for most people, understand what you're doing. If I give you an example, we work a lot now with builders. So we are building their systems, but we're also helping them with social media, because a lot of these builders they don't need 100 new leads because they only want to build an extra maybe 2 to 3 houses a year. But what they do want is they want more time back because they want to be spending time with their kids. They're happy making the profit, but now they're like, I'm always away. So now what we've started to say was, well, why don't we build the authority in where you need to be? And for most of them, they're getting their referrals from architects. So we've actually started to build more of a strategy around not worrying about the end user per se, actually going towards where you're getting your business. So we can just get that extra 1 or 2 builds a year. And I think that's what's important here is that really understand you as an individual. Don't just follow someone. Like the one thing that I see a lot of is now that people are trying to show up on social media, they're trying to reenact the person either that's told them to show up on social media or, maybe someone in a different industry and it's not working. Like be yourself, but like you don't know which platform is for you until you start to put stuff out there. And that's the beauty of Go High Level, right? We schedule things and we put it out. Sometimes we play around with changing the copy for the different platforms. Others, I just put the same one out there and I just see which is performing better.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's
Sorry, just the one thing I will say is like it depends on your kind of investment in this. Like if you're looking at the Dan Martells and stuff, like Dan Martell will post the same video 3 times on TikTok with different captions just to see which one pops off. Like he has a full media team that is fully employed to do that. So you have to look and think about like how much investment do I want to put in this? If I'm owning a business that helps people do it, then it makes sense for me to put more effort into it. It makes sense for me to have all this technology and try to wow people even when I'm presenting. But if you're not doing anything, like just start because you might think it's Instagram and then all of a sudden your Facebook pops off. The data still suggests you make more money from Facebook, just so you're aware. So that's where I would say for most of you guys, I mean, I think I know most of you from Facebook. I don't even think before today most of you knew I had a 500,000 followers on Instagram. So it's like it's just followers. I'm still the same person who comes here on a Wednesday and is on mute, like
yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I have such a good story on this, and it annoys me because we never recovered from it. We were posting 8 times a day on social media across all of our platforms, and then Facebook just picked it up and ran with it. So we went from like 2,000 followers to 9,000 followers in the space of like 2 months. We had a heap of likes on our page, on our videos. We had a heap of shares, and we were like spending 2 to 3 hours a day just actually replying to everything, engaging, inviting, and things like that to build it up. And then overnight, it just shut off. Like algorithm died, and we never recovered from it. So that's something that we've never been able to really, or not even get close to trying to build back up. But it's being consistent with posting. So we're posting across all of our channels, like all of our social channels. We post the exact same thing across it all. We don't try and break it down and get like super technical with it. I just feel like that's probably beyond where I'm at right now. But the question I've got when you're talking about your top, middle, and bottom funnel, the things that popped for us, Dan, were talking about motivation in business and outside of business, just a mindset as a whole that was working really well for us. But I feel like if I were to look at comparing that to your presentation, talking about top, middle, and bottom, that's really top level kind of stuff. I think that the stuff that I do where I'm jumping on calls with people is top of funnel as well. But I'm guessing here that middle of funnel is where it's more one-to-one, where you're just recording content directly to speak to people. And then bottom of funnel is call to action. And so the question I've got there is how do you balance or unbalance that content? Like how do you know whether you're leaning too much into top of funnel or you're leaning too much into bottom of funnel when it comes to building out your social media content?
Yeah, I think with a lot of stuff, it is trial and error. I try and keep some level of structure, and I always keep about kind of 20% of just let's just try shit. Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But for the other side of it, I kind of you don't want to be annoying and always asking. Like you want to give. But when I structured out over 7 days as an example, and you very much want to be looking at like I think maybe 3 to 4 CTAs a week if you're somebody who's posting every day is kind of giving people like a bit of respite on the other days. But on the other days, it's like show them the thing. Like if I have the headache of something and then I watch a video and maybe it's in our world, it could be just us on a green screen going, this person had been working with a system for 2 years. This particular business that they had signed up with wasn't doing the things. Here's how we rectified that. And it's showing you real life stuff. I think that stuff works really, really well in most industries at the moment because most people are catching your attention, but I'm time poor and I don't really know you that yet. So show me that you can do the thing. And I think that's really powerful. So in terms of like, I get people who tell me they post every day and they haven't grown. And then I look at their content. I'm like, yeah, but your content's shit. Like, in the nice way possible. Like, you still have to have a reason behind it. It's not just a case of let's just post 8 times a day. There has to be a reason behind that. And that's where doing your research, that's where like AI can be good. But it's like someone who's overweight going on YouTube. They could have the best program if they know what they're looking for.
Yeah, it makes
And
a
if
lot
you
of
haven't
sense.
been posting on social media, the best way to understand that is actually to put stuff out there. Even if it's like, it might be shit for the start, but then really look at the metrics. Like if I'm getting somebody who's gone straight into my DMs after watching my video, like that's a good video because it's pulled them out. And you don't need 100 people. Let's just keep reiterating that. You don't need 100 people to come into your DMs. You probably shit yourself if a
Yeah.
thousand people come in. But if you can get 2 or 3 people coming in a week, and maybe you get one client off the back of that, like that's realistic. And that's before you've done anything with ads, by the way. Like that's the whole point of this, right?
And let's go into that a bit more because you've spoken about viral videos and then people taking videos that went viral and then posted it themselves, and then that's also gone viral for them. A question that I had was how do you manage that? How have you managed that? Because like you mentioned, there's a frustration there when people do it, and I can absolutely appreciate that. Are there things that you do to try and handle that or navigate that?
Uh, it's like somebody stealing your course or whatever. You have to factor in as something that happens. And the way I then frame my mind to it is that it's free advertising. That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, cool.
Because you can't stop it. It's, with screen recording now, if you could have the most amazing course and someone could sign up to it, go in and literally just screen record everything and just repurpose it, which is what happens. But if you're making enough money and you're happy with what you're doing, you just have to take that as part of it. It's not right, but it is reality.
Yeah, fair. That's super fair. But you're right; it's still getting you the exposure as well. Craig asked a question here. What was the platform where you got the 14.9 million views? And
Instagram.
the follow up middle and funnel and bottom of funnel ones. Not sure if I should do long form YouTube or short form.
Who asked the long form, short form?
This was still Craig's question off the
Yeah.
back of the question around the views.
There's a few options that I would take. I think most people who aren't used to talking on camera should get good at long form. The reason being is for most people, after about a minute or two of talking, you go into your groove, right? Like if I'm doing a podcast and I'm just talking to a friend, if I'm passionate about something and I have the knowledge of it, once I get over the idea that I'm actually sitting in front of a camera, then I can start to be myself, right? And that's where I think it's all about getting the reps in. So if you're using short form as your way of getting it in, then it's going to take longer because you're trying to do different types of videos within a 30 to 40 second, which does take a skill to it. But in terms of like which should you use, there's specificity to it, right? Like what is the outcome that you want from it? If I'm selling an online course, a podcast is a really good way because people will listen to it and they'll binge quicker. It's like we're trying to get to that number, and so if I have long form content, then people will spend longer listening to it, so they'll get to that number of binge a lot quicker. But Craig, if it's for you, like for me, I would think that do both. Which did you feel more like comfortable with? Because if you're trying to do a long form video and you're making mistakes, trust me, I like to think I'm pretty polished on camera. And when it comes to long form, I've now been putting more effort into long form. I am making a little bit more mistakes because I'm not being as punchy because I don't need to be because it's a longer video.
Mhm.
I'm noticing it's actually taking me longer to make that video, and then I'm getting the shits because I'm like, if I get a videographer to come over for 3 hours, and if I'm doing short form video, we get through 15 to 20 videos. If I'm doing long form, maybe I get one or two. That's where me as an individual, I'm like, oh, could I have better spent my time doing the short form? So it really depends. Like the best, it's if anybody ever watches like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, Simon Cowell used to be shrewd in the way he used to do things, but now as he's got older, he just listens to the crowd because they're the best people to make the decision. And so
Love
unless you
that.
put it out to your crowd, you can do all the research, you can buy all the great content, like softwares and all the things, but get it out there. Let people be the decider. They'll tell you if it's shit or not.
Awesome. Thank you. Nice, Craig. Burns asked a question here. Have you noticed client ads work better when they already have an organic following?
100%, because they've already got past. There's two sides to that. One is at the start for sure because they're getting low hanging fruit. They're getting people who've already been following them. They does get to a certain point where we'll get fatigue, and then we do need to start putting it out to colder traffic. But where I see those people excel is because they're already good on camera and they're already good at talking to, like addressing a particular issue. Then when you put that out to the people who, because with the way Meta is now, it can be super specific to people who have that problem. So when you know you're already good on camera and you know you're already saying the buzzwords, it literally goes direct to the right type of people. Um, that's what I've seen. Again, as I told you, we put a new ad on yesterday to a new industry. We've already got 6 leads in. Spoke to one today, and he was very much like it resonated with me because you said X, Y, and Z.
Mm.
So when you are thinking of social media, like try go against the grain. Like stopping the scroll is the most important thing that you can do. That can be done. You'll see people who, as I said, hold a prop. They might change a t-shirt on every different frame. They might say something that's quite controversial, but then actually show you the why behind it. Like we're doing that because you have to buy people's times, unfortunately. That's the game. You either play it or you don't. That's it.
And I'll add off the back of Burns' question because you're running ads on social media and then you're also organically posting as well, right? What do you see as the experience of that? Because there's people I know that just run ads without doing anything on social media and they get some results. And then you've got people like yourself that are running ads, but then also you've got your content that's going out as well. Do you find that you've got people that are jumping on calls and going, "Hey, I was just watching this," or "Hey, I've been following you more so," and the ad just stuck out? What's your
In my experience on it,
yeah.
that people go, for example, the way social media works, there's two coins to it. One is that like people follow you for quite a long time, then because they're not constantly interacting, you end up not showing up on their page. And then what happens is you turn on an ad, they see it again and they go, "Oh, I've been meaning to reach out to you." And that's what happens a lot. I see a lot of people go, "I've been following you for 6 months and that ad just, it was like you were just telling me to like start working with you." And, so that's where I see the benefit of both. But I am, from my experience of talking to people who have worked with agencies, they have been burnt just like in this testing phase of just spending shitloads of money trying to see who clients work with them. And I'm like, okay, but like if you spend 10 to 20K trying to trial ads, would it not have been worth your while trying to put a bit of time into doing organic as well? And then that seesaw approach might bring you to find, content. And so for some people, content. For some people, they 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 get winning ads and then they go, well, I don't need to show up on social media. Okay, cool. That's the beauty of this whole thing is that I'm trying to work this in the context of if you are not showing up on social media and you are not doing anything and you're relying on referrals, and that's all well and good, but this is a whole other beast that can complement your referrals and can also help you with referrals. Because if you do go to a networking event, oh, you own Boulder Digital. Oh, are you guys on social media? I'll check you out. I'm going to reach out with you because now, oh yeah, this guy's really, really good. Awesome. So
It
it's
adds
just that
to
ecosystem.
what you're saying is great because it goes back to one of the old masterclass calls with Ben, right? When he was talking about the 10 by 10 strategy and going, have one strategy, nail that down, and then start working on your next one so that you've got multiple angles and you're not relying on one source. That way you're not being cut off at any point. So it makes total sense what you're saying.
Yeah, as I say, it's simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple just means like there's a strategy behind it. And for most people, it's because they don't do it. It's the same with people who go to the gym and they say, I can't get fit. And I'm like, well, how many times are you going? They're like, oh, it was just too hard basket. I couldn't go. And I'm like, well, undercommit to overachieve then. If you're someone who's not showing up on social media, what is realistic for you? Could you post once a week? Could you post twice a week? Cool. Then when you've done that consistently for like 3 or 4 weeks, now could you add another day of content? Yeah, okay, that's fair. I could add another day. Sweet. Let's like I'm a realist, right? I've got
I
two
love
kids.
that.
I've got two businesses. Like life's fucking busy, but I enjoy being in front of camera and doing it because I've done it for so long. But it's also in the calendar because if it's not in the calendar, I'll look at every excuse not to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I remember even when I was getting started on camera, I found it really hard because there was no teleprompters or anything like that. And I was trying to record off a GoPro because my camera on my phone was rubbish. So I was trying all these different things. I had a tablet so that I could try and see what the GoPro was looking at while I was behind the camera. It was just like this ongoing effect. And then I kept on forgetting the words to my like what I wanted to say. And it was during COVID. I was working with Anthony Lay, who's from The Mentalist, and he jumped on a call with me. And he's like, cool, we'll just introduce a prop because his background was acting. And so what he did is he had me introduce a notepad that just had 3 dot points on what I wanted to cover. Like, all right, guys, so, Jared here, and I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. And then it doesn't look weird if you're reading off it because then you've already introduced it. But again, it just goes back to what you're saying about having the right people to guide you with this so that you can make the most of each of these channels rather than just pushing out content for the sake of it.
So on that, I would say for most of you, try not to script. Script is fucking hard, like, and it's monotonous and you sound robotic. My approach with a lot of it is bullet points. And the good thing about, even if you're recording natively with your phone, if you're in the Reels tab, as an example, you can hold down on the record button. And then as soon as you're finished the sentence, you can just lift your thumb. It'll stop recording, but it'll still hold it. And then you could go change your t-shirt, change it up, and then you could just go, okay, what was that next sentence? Yeah, okay, got it. And then you can just say the next sentence. And the thing about that then is if you know the tone you finished on the previous sentence, if you look at any of my videos, that's a lot of the times that's the way I do it. So I either use if I'm just standing here talking about the same thing like this, at a certain point you're going to get quite bored of what I'm doing. So I'll either use my hands like what I just did, or I'll jump cut. So I'll zoom in, I'll zoom out, and then the next thing I'll do is either change my t-shirt. So the purpose of that then is it's about just keeping you entertained. If you watch movies, you'll see that they change clips on average like every 2 to 3 seconds. And the clip could be just a different camera, like camera two, camera one. So it's like we're the same. If you're watching short form video, you've got to entertain people. But the entertainment can be just like if I showed you like one of the real estate agents that we work with in Saudi Arabia, it was like fucking rabbit in a headlight. But I said to them, that's fine. They were like, oh, I'm mortified. And I said, well, you just wait and see the way I edit it. And I got my team to edit it. And they were like, oh, that looks awesome. I'm like, yeah, because we zoomed in, we zoomed out. We put a B-roll over it. We added in some music. We made it a bit more effective. Good captions. Oh, cool. That was great. So then what that did was it gave them more confidence to get more content from me. So don't be worried if you are a rabbit in a headlight. You don't like I have a teleprompter and it sits in there and I have never used it. I don't know why I bought it. And so it's like I will have it on screen if I have a videographer over and I make a mistake, he'll just go, this is the next sentence, and I'll be like, okay, sweet. I do the next sentence and then I just edit and so when you see my ads, by the way, you'll know that that's exactly the way I did it.
When we're on this subject as well, Dan, talking about your client, and I think this would be great for everyone on the call because, at some point where they either been asked to help someone in this space that's a client of ours or someone's working with someone on this call, no doubt. A lot of the time, that people, trying to get videos, blood from a stone scenario. What do you find helps them to start talking? Because one of the things you mentioned is, trying to avoid using a script, which I agree with. It starts to make you look a little bit robotic. What do you find helps you to help your clients to just start opening up and feel like recording some stuff so that you can edit it?
If we're working with like the absolute beginner who's shitting themselves, I will be very much like, get your partner to sit opposite you out of screen and tell them what you do. Like explain what you do. Get them to ask you these questions. Here's questions, get them to ask you. And so then when we're editing them, we'll just edit to where you're answering. And then when they start to see it, then they're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now I'm getting more confidence. I say things like, change your outfit all the time. Stand close to a window so that way it's nice and bright. Keep the back a bit darker. there's ways of just making people feel more at ease. Bullet points. So it's like, just remember three things. Remember what your hook is, then remember the three things and just give them the takeaway. Literally keep it that simple. Because once you start to get in your groove, then you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like there's times where I'll just be here and I'm drinking a coffee and I'm just saying just random shit because I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work, but I'll put it out there. And then what's ironic is you do get people going, oh, that was funny. But it had like nothing really to do with what I'm doing for work. But then people see that you're a human being as well. So don't the 14.9 million view video, when you watch that, it was blurry. I wasn't going to post it. And it's completely changed my life. Like it completely changed our whole approach to social media. It grew our social media. It's allowed us to do everything we've done for the last 4 years. And if I had overthought that and didn't post it, then that may not have happened.
Absolutely. There's a question here from James. Do you let AI talk to people in their DMs and qualify them to book the sales calls?
Absolutely not. We did it, but it's just me as an individual. When I was in the fitness industry, I was never a nutrition or a weight loss coach because I fucking hate people talking about calories. It's the same thing. I want to be a human being with you. So I have systems in place for where I want systems, and that allows me to be a human being where I can be a human being. And I tell them out straight. Some people say to me, "No, there's no way it's you," and then I send them a video. I'm like, "It is me." Um, in our fitness business that we have, that is very much somebody else talking to them, just because like there's no point in me doing it in the nice way possible. It's not worth my time, but it is for my systems because I really enjoy that now. The fitness side of things, there's other people in there talking. We did have AI in there, and it just some people will agree with me, some people will disagree with me, but this is where the beauty of when you own your own business, you do what you think works best for your business. I think if you are selling AI softwares for some people, it makes sense that you have an AI in there because you're like, hey, look how good this is. But I think for a lot of people, especially if any of you guys are selling a high kind of one-on-one offer, I still believe like people want to talk to you. Like if I know that I'm actually talking to you and now you've said something like, hey, do you want me to send you an offer doc or do you want me to like get on a call with me? I already feel more at ease, right?
Is that outside of hours as well, though, Dan? Like you just try to make yourself available as much as you can?
I usually have one trigger and I kind of joke about it. I call it the Danobot. Like, so I'm like, hey, this is Danobot. Like, Dan has a life and is currently asleep. Like, or he might be currently off with his kids enjoying the day. He'll get back to you as soon as he's back live.
Yeah, awesome.
But then I might also have like there's somebody monitoring that as well. So like someone might ping me a Slack and go, hey, someone's actually reached out. They want like they seem like a good contact. But if I'm asleep, I'm asleep. Like I don't. Again, it just depends on what you're selling. If I'm selling a low ticket offer, for sure you're not getting fucking me on a DM. You can go on my landing page and buy the thing, or you can talk to a bot and it'll give you the information. So yeah, just it depends on what you're selling, I would say. If it's something that, like for example, you get a lot of wellness coaches, and imagine someone's just opened their heart out to you, and it's like, "Thank you for sending that over. I really appreciate it, and I will give you my input." Like fucking hell. I've just told you my husband's left me after 15 years and I didn't work the last 10 and now I'm broken. That's what your fucking response was?
Yeah, I love that. That's such a valid point. I remember in 2016, and this is back when I was using Snapchat. I sent a message or a reply to Kerwin Ray, and Kerwin came back to me, and that was the start of our friendship. It literally blew my mind the fact that he was actually there, having conversation back and forwards via video and having that conversation. So I love how you're reminding all of us about that human element, which we talk about still being a major part with AI being integrated into things, because I shared a couple of things back then, and he was able to empathize and connect with exactly where that was at. Then it led to a sales call, and then we became friends and did stuff together ever since. So I love that, and it's even made me think about how I currently use our agents, to look at how we could potentially change that experience. Bern asked a question around if you're using GHL or ManyChat for DM automations. You've kind of touched on this, but to kind of answer that, are you using that more so when you're talking about lead magnets, or are you?
I use DHL. I don't use ManyChat.
And
The
What are you
reason being
using
with
that for?
ManyChat is because ManyChat charges you more depending on like if you've got more volume coming into your DMs, they charge you. I do see the benefit of it for some people. Again, in the nicest way possible, if you don't have 100,000 followers and you're not getting more than 100 DMs a day, Go High Level does everything for you and then be a human being where you need to be a human being. Because again, if it gets you 10 to 15 clients a month, I think we're all going to be pretty satisfied with that. And then we can start to look, if we do that consistently, then maybe look at other avenues. So it's, again, I hate to say it depends, but it does. It depends on what you're doing. I've used ManyChat back in like 2022, and then I stopped because I always think about what's the things that give me the shits. The things that give me the shits is when I follow someone and then I got a message. I know it's ManyChat. So I'm already like, mate, you're not getting a sale from me. Like I'm already pissed off. So like you're not the guy for me. So that's where like what do you like? It's like I don't like sales calls, so I'll give people offer docs first. And then some people will go, "Hey, would it be okay if we got on a call? I just had a few questions for you." Okay, cool. You've already seen the price. So if you're more interested in getting on a call with me now, what is the questions? And sometimes I'll say that, hey, can you just drop the questions below and I'll compile as much information for you so it can really maximize that 15 minutes that we're going to talk to each other.
Brilliant.
This yeah, be a fucking human being.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. Um, I wrote a question in here, and funny that I brought up Kerwin Ray before. So I use a lead magnet template from Kerwin Ray all the way from 2016. So that just shows you how I've kept to my roots of sticking with what I know, and then I've just changed the copy as we've you know changed with different messaging and stuff. What I've learned from this is I was going for a broader approach, being more AI focused, to a bit of an audit, and so now I'm looking at, okay, cool. Google Business Profiles have become our thing. That's what we're doing well. How do we hyper focus on that? My question is, are the old school ebooks and checklists still working well, or are we looking more at leaning into more, say, the AI studio with High Level, and now making questionnaires or things like that you were touching on through your presentation? Like, what do you find's working best at the minute?
It depends on the content. Everybody, like if you're just wanting checklists, like if you talk about AI or Claude Code, guarantee they'll get 400 comments. But are those people actually going to come and work with you? Or, is it better that you're potentially asking a quiz with 5 to 8 questions that is specific to the issue and being, maybe you only get 20 people come in, but you get 2 calls off the back of it or 4 calls off the back of it and you get one person sign up. Again, don't be blinded by the metrics because I still see people on Instagram and they have these call to actions and it is around Claude, which is the hype and everybody's talking about it. But I still know that they're not making much money because they're just putting out things that I know it's a prompt. I can see it's a fucking like you just got Claude to make that 10-page thing that you've just posted. It's like it doesn't appeal to me as much. The only
Yeah,
time it does work is if you're genuinely going to be saving somebody's time. Like if there's something that I'm having a headache with Claude and you have the answer, yeah, for sure. Like so this is what I mean by the quality of your checklist, right? If it's really
yeah,
specific, if I know you've got something that I want and you put a link out there, well, for sure, I'm going to spend 5 minutes reading it. And maybe if there is an offer there that says, well, you can either do this yourself or I can do it for you, I'm the sort of person that's going to go, right, well, how long is that going to take me to do myself? Fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to get him to get it done for me.
yeah. Cool. Time, money, freedom, freedom. One of those, or all three of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool. I had one more from Craig. Great question, this one. Personal pages versus business pages. Seems business pages never get many views.
Yeah. But they're still valuable to have because again, views don't fucking put money in your bank account. People reaching out and something being specific for that individual does. So you might think. So what I tend to do is I collaborate with it, and it's also important because you probably run most of your ads through it. And I don't know about you guys, but most people don't click on your page to see how many followers you have. If the video is that good and the copy's that good, they're already on your landing page. So it's important that you do have a business page. What I say to some industries, again, if I relate it to tradies and builders, I think in 2026, it's important that you are the face of your business because otherwise you just become a short list of everybody else. I said this the other day in one of my videos. It was like, think about Greya here on the Gold Coast. They're two brothers who build houses and basically sell them for like 12, 20 million. They're already sold before they've even finished. How did they do that? Because for years they just showed up on social media talking about how they were doing things, the high level finishes that they had, so people resonated with them. If you're somebody who's just doing your drone footages of your of buildings and before and afters, like they're great, but I still don't know you as an individual. Like why do we all kind of connect with each other? Because we're on these calls every Wednesday. We're now starting to see each other as human beings. We're all business owners. We all have something to sell, but we're not here to sell. We're here to just talk and give each other knowledge. Why? Because then maybe, Jared's talking to someone and then he goes, well, actually, Dan's the guy for you based on that thing. So that's where I think being a human being, I keep reiterating it on socials, being a human being in in this scenario. So yes, have a business account. You can still collaborate it with your personal account. And then that allows you, if you're a big enough entity, as an example. So we were talking to this builders, they call it APC. They're in Melbourne, quite a big builders. There's about 5 of them, like directors. So I was like, you all could kind of be there. You know what I mean? Like you could all be like, here's Jared from Boulder Digital. So it's Jared.Boulder Digital. Maybe there's someone else at Boulder Digital and it's Dan.Boulder Digital. And we could talk about things and then we could also have that connected to Boulder Digital. So that way then Jared doesn't always have to be the person that does the content. So it's
Yeah,
again, just
great.
think of that ecosystem because then people might just prefer, like I have fitness coaches and at one point I was doing it, but they all fucking prefer the fitness coach that I hired. They love them. I'm like, great, cool. I always thought I was I had to be there. And no, they fucking prefer him.
Yep. Yep. I didn't even think about collaboration either. Like I collaborate on YouTube because I know to do that, but I didn't even think about collaborating with my personal across my business. That's a
Because you
great
can do it in
great
Go
tip.
High Level as well. On Instagram, you can just do it. So if I put out a fitness video, I'll usually connect to Ageless Movement, which is our fitness business. If I'm putting out a tech one, I do Systemations and we collaborate with that. And I do see that people are constantly just ticking over following that page, even though it's the same stuff. We don't post separately. But it's just awareness. If I always see that, like I always wear this t-shirt when I'm doing most of my videos, it's just that awareness. People see it, see it, see it. It's like um yeah, you know what I'm getting at with this branding, right?
Well, even when you say that as well with the personal page, are you saying that you can post on your personal page in High Level as well?
Now, so what I do is I post across all my social medias that I
Yeah,
can and Go High Level. Then if I just go into Instagram, if I just click the 3 buttons on that particular post, it can just share it straight to Facebook.
brilliant.
And that's how I share it straight to Facebook then,
To
even
your
on the
personal.
personal. Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. Okay, so
As
that's a
long as
really
they're
big tip.
connected, as long as they're connected, then you can just go 3 dots, share on Facebook. That's all you got to do. So it's not,
Sweet,
you don't have to write that post separately.
sweet. That's awesome, guys. Do you have any more questions coming through? We've gone over. We've absolutely gone over, but this has been incredible.
It's because you're talking to an Irishman. You should see me when I have alcohol in me. Fucking hell. Gary, I see Gary saying he's looking forward to drinks on Monday. He might regret that when I don't shut up.
Did anyone have any more questions or anything they wanted to share with Dan? No? Sweet. No.
I hope you enjoyed it. And just so you're aware, because obviously we talk about being good at social media, I forgot to click record on my OBS. So I have the shits right now and you can't see that. So just so you're aware, shit happens.
All good, mate. I can help you out with that afterwards
I
anyway.
know, but you can't record it in you probably didn't record it in HD, did you?
Of course I did. Only HD. Only HD. I paid my little mini upsell for Zoom so that I, could then message him about 8 times going, it's still not in HD, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. OBS is still my go-to for even just that little bit more crisper. And
Yep.
then it allows me those transitions that I was doing. So that's something that I highly recommend if you're doing a lot of webinars.
Well, here we go. We got a question that's come in.
OBS. OBS. IBS is fucking irritable bowel syndrome, which is something you definitely don't want. But OBS, I'd recommend. It's a software basically. So what it does is allows me to kind of build templates, which is what I did. So when I press, I've got a stream deck here. So when I do this, I actually can't see myself, but I'm guessing my iPad or something came up there, did
It
it?
just brought up a beer.
Yeah, nice. Fucking hell, I wish that happened. So yeah, and then like for example, before I start up, I think there's different cameras. There's another camera here. So yeah, just allows me that little bit more seamless. I also have it attached to my lights. So if I turn off my lights, can change the color of my lights and shit. So yeah, if you're doing webinars regularly, then again, this is what I say about softwares do help. It enhances the experience. But if you're not, don't worry about it. Like if you're not posting on social media, fucking don't worry about OBS. Like just grab your phone and start talking.
Get shit done.
Yeah.
Bern just asked a last minute question, Dan. So where are you using AI in your content process?
So like what I said earlier about you could go onto YouTube and lose weight if you know what you're looking for. It helps for me to talk to my OpenClaw and say, hey, we've just hired this builder in the Hawthorne area. They're now looking to work with these people. Can you get me 30 days of content? Can you go and do that research? Can you then set up their Slack channel there? We use ClickUp, so I need you to grab all those templates and put it in there. So that's where it'll go in and get all their answers, and then it'll base it off the answers. So we have triggers, but we also use OpenClaw a lot for that. In terms of other systems, I actually am having a headache with OpenClaw with Go High Level, and I've been on to Go High Level about 4 or 5 times. So what happens is if I put a video into Google Drive, my OpenClaw, I get it to grab it and put it into Go High Level and schedule it, but it's not allowing that to go out, which is really fucking annoying. If I use Claude and I co-work and actually use my browser, it does work. So there's a lot of hiccups that are still there. So I haven't fully mastered that aspect yet. But what I am noticing where like having something like an OpenClaw is really good is just being able to answer questions to clients as well within my Slack channels, actually being able to go and pluck the information from my Google Drive. The biggest thing for me was just setting up my Google folders. Up until I had an OpenClaw, I couldn't work out how I could do that. I couldn't duplicate a folder if it had videos and stuff in it. It wouldn't duplicate it. So now that can just create the new kind of subfolder, like the way I have it built, and just plug in all the necessary stuff and then start to edit it all. It's really good.
Yeah, gotcha. Awesome. Bern, does that answer your question, mate? Yeah, thumbs up. Nailed it. Dan, awesome presentation. I've been hanging out for this one, but I knew it was going to be as good as what it was. So massive thank you from my end. There's a heap of people that have said thank you as well in the chat that have been in here as well for this call. So really appreciate it. We'll get this out and online, and you and I'll catch up afterwards, and I'll share videos and things like that with you.